In Washington, the House of Representatives has passed a sweeping legislative package central to President Donald Trump's domestic agenda. The measure, titled the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, cleared the chamber by a narrow margin of 218 to 214. The vote followed a marathon, all-night session as Republican leadership worked to secure the support of party holdouts who had blocked an earlier attempt to pass the 940-page bill. The legislation is now on its way to the president's desk, with a signing expected ahead of a self-imposed July 4th deadline. This bill represents a significant legislative accomplishment for the administration, bundling together many of its core policy goals. Key provisions include a range of tax cuts, increased spending for border security and national defense, and measures to phase out existing tax credits for clean energy initiatives. Its passage is seen as the culmination of months of negotiations and aims to enact a broad swath of the president's platform in a single vote, a strategy that required considerable party discipline to see through to completion. While Washington marks that legislative action, a new analysis from J.P. Morgan is highlighting potential economic headwinds related to the administration's trade policies. According to the financial giant's research, current tariff policies could impose an additional $82.3 billion in import costs on U.S. mid-sized businesses. These firms are a critical part of the American economy, generating roughly one-third of the country's private sector revenue and employment. The report warns that these businesses are especially vulnerable to the financial shock of tariffs, primarily because many operate on thin profit margins and have a high reliance on imported goods. The wholesale and retail sectors are identified as being at particular risk. Researchers noted that these companies may struggle to absorb the increased costs, which could lead to a variety of consequences, including higher prices passed on to consumers, a reduction in hiring, or in some cases, business closures. The findings suggest a widespread, though uneven, impact on commercial corridors across the country. Economic policy isn't the only area seeing new proposals. On Capitol Hill, a new bill is being drafted that could fundamentally alter how political representation is determined in the United States. Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced her intention to introduce a measure with two major components. First, it would mandate a new census that exclusively counts U.S. citizens. The results of this new count would then be used to apportion seats in the House of Representatives. Second, the bill would require individuals to provide proof of American citizenship in order to vote in federal elections. Representative Greene stated that President Trump supports the proposal. This would mark a significant departure from current practice. For over a century, the U.S. Census has counted all persons residing in a state, regardless of their citizenship status, a method rooted in the 14th Amendment's instruction to count the whole number of persons in each state. Changing this standard would almost certainly reshape the nation's political map, as states with large non-citizen populations could lose congressional seats and, consequently, electoral college votes. That legislative proposal comes amid heated legal battles over current immigration enforcement. In Southern California, the American Civil Liberties Union has filed a class action lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, demanding an immediate stop to what it calls unlawful immigration raids across the Los Angeles area. The lawsuit alleges that since early June, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, has conducted sweeping operations that systematically target individuals with brown skin in an effort to meet arrest quotas, resulting in the detention of approximately 1,500 immigrants. The suit further claims that detainees are being held in deplorable and unconstitutional conditions at a holding facility known as B-18, describing it as a dungeon-like space where people are crowded into windowless rooms without adequate food, beds, or access to legal counsel. In response, a Homeland Security official has vehemently denied the allegations, calling any claim of racial profiling disgusting and categorically false, and dismissing the lawsuit's assertions as garbage. The official stated that ICE detention standards are high and that all detainees receive proper meals, medical care, and communication access. The legal challenge follows a series of tense protests in Los Angeles, which has become a focal point of resistance to the administration's deportation efforts. These ongoing clashes between civil liberties groups, the executive branch, and lawmakers are unfolding as the Supreme Court has just concluded its term with a ruling that directly addresses the scope of judicial power itself. In a landmark decision, the High Court ruled against the practice of judges issuing nationwide injunctions. These are powerful court orders, typically issued by a single federal district judge, that can halt the implementation of a government policy across the entire country, rather than just for the specific parties involved in the lawsuit. The use of such injunctions had surged in recent years under both the current and previous administrations, prompting intense debate over whether they represent a judicial overreach into the authority of the executive branch. This new ruling significantly curtails the ability of individual judges to set national policy from the bench. It means that future legal challenges to federal policies will likely result in orders that are more limited in scope, applying only to the plaintiffs in a case or within a specific judicial circuit. The decision is poised to have a profound impact on how legal battles over controversial government actions play out in the years to come.